12, young people who spent 6 months out of work, education or training, so-called NEETs, could have to take on unpaid community work if the Tories win the general election. David Cameron revealed this morning that around 50,000 young people would have to work for local charities in exchange for benefits. Andy Benson is from the Keep Volunteering voluntary campaign. So by the sound of your campaign title, you'd be against this.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Yeah. Where do you want me to start?
Well, I would say that there are the people we've talked to earlier who do work for social enterprises or charities were saying, look, if you've got 100 NEETs, as we have to call them, then there's some of them we want to work and will be an asset to that charity and will help and might learn some skills that will take them into full-time employment. Others will be a complete pain. So I don't think there's a single simple answer, is there?
Well, there is a simple answer, which is to take the compulsion out of this. The truth of this announcement that lies behind this announcement, this is a Conservative Party manifesto announcement, not even a government announcement, and it has to be seen in the context of the demonisation of people who are dependent on social security claimants and benefits, and the benefit sanctions regime, which is why it got us up in arms last year when they announced an exactly identical program, but for a different group of unemployed people, that had the Help to Work program. The problem with this is that this is forcing people to do 6 months, 30 hours a week, unpaid labour in a charity or voluntary organisation, and 10 hours of job search on top of that. The objection that we had to the Help to Work programme last year is that the government had commissioned, before they launched the programme, they commissioned an external evaluation which showed that those people who had been on the placements were no more likely to find work after the placement than those who hadn't been on the placement. And consequently, if the independent evaluation showed the government that this scheme would not achieve the objectives of helping people to find work, well, then we were entitled to ask them what was the real objective behind the scheme. And given that it's backed up by benefit sanctions, which is pauperised nearly 1 million people last year, our conclusion is that this is really just part of a punishment regime, and that the Tory party in this announcement are just pandering to kind of Middle Britain, who think that there are large numbers of people on benefits who, are living the life of Riley, which we know from our experience is not the case.
So there are 1 million. You're obviously dead against it.
Yeah.
But there's 1 million, nearly 1 million NEETs there between 18 and 24 years old, I think we define it.
Yeah.
What do you do about it then?
Well,
it's an idea at least, and it might work for some.
Well, but it won't work for most. And like I'm trying to say, the government know it won't work.
Okay, in which case, what would you suggest?
We need a return to a high quality educational system that allows young people to develop the skills and experience that they need to enter the job market seriously. And on a macro scale, we need an economy that actually works for people. At the moment, it's just more of the same, saying that these 18 to 21-year-olds are responsible for their own misfortune. Well, that clearly isn't the case, given if you just take a cursory look around at the economy that we're now having to live with, and a low-wage economy in which prices are being driven, wages are being driven down and down. More and more people are dependent on 0 hours contracts. Property prices, rental prices, cost of living prices are going up. People just cannot afford to live in this environment.
All right. No, look, we understand your point. I think we can see where you're coming from politically, but even if you do completely turn the economy round, and if you do completely improve the education system, that'll take a while to come through. It's not going to help this million of that age group in difficulties now. So what do you suggest? Just pay them the benefits and let them sit there?
No. Well, I mean, ultimately, yes. Just pay them the benefits and let them sit there. If that's the only alternative available, and for many young people, particularly, I mean, I live in Hackney in East London, and for many young people in the 18 to 21-year-old age group, there is nothing available for them. Employment-wise, there is nothing available for them. It's not that there are jobs out there that they're refusing to take. There is nothing available for them. They have no prospects. Well, what's your answer? Let them starve? This is just,
No, but if you can pick up some skills on the way by a bit of, I know you can have a little bit of coercion, but let's say a gentle kick up the backside, go and help out at this charity. You might learn something. You might help the charity, and why not?
Yeah, well, you're not listening. The point I made at the beginning is that it has been shown by the government's own consultants that this approach to work experience is not successful. It does not help. Now, you can say, oh, well, there may be a few people that would benefit. And I could say, well, I agree with you. There may be a few people that it would benefit. But do you really want to send 50,000 young people through an absolutely ludicrously inefficient program because you think that there might be a handful who would benefit from it?
Let's just hear what Asi Panditharatna from Catch-22, a social enterprise charity, says. Would you say it's of a helping in getting NEETs get jobs, which is what your charity does?
Good afternoon, Adrian. Yes, I mean, obviously, it is a good initiative and it offers choice. We know that social action or volunteering actually helps young people to develop the qualities for work, so those core qualities or mindset qualities, trust, commitment, teamwork. Also, employers are often sort of telling us, well, actually, there's some work done by the government, says that 60% of employers are actually rating work experience and any type of social action as very important in them actually making like a decision. So employers are constantly citing the lack of experience and poor confidence and attitude. Other research shows that, if you've got some kind of work experience or social action, you're 5 times less likely to be NEET. But obviously, I do agree we need a stick, but we also need incentives and a carrot. I think there are issues around the mandatory sort of nature of this work. And
what issues are they?
The only way we
What
can...
issues are they?
Sorry?
What are the issues with the mandatory nature?
What are the issues around the mandatory requirement? You mentioned the word choice at the beginning of your little spiel. There is no choice. If you know anything about mandatory work placements, you will know there is no choice involved.
I think the issue is that around choice is giving people the choice to go into work. There are lots of opportunities out there. Actually, the labour market is getting more vibrant.
Hang on.
If you just let me finish, in terms of London, we actually find there are more apprenticeship vacancies and jobs than there are actual people that are able to apply for them. People have to progress in their careers. We need to, obviously, yes, you need to give people an option. People need to take ownership of their social action or anything they're doing, but it has to also lead somewhere. The job search elements are very important. The support with CVs, the support to progress in your career. The government and also the Labour Party has made a commitment to increase the number of apprenticeships and also a number of other opportunities. So we have to see like a progression as well in this initiative.
Well, you sound like a government spokesman. Can I just briefly deal with the question of apprentices and apprentices? We are now getting cases where employers are realising that if they redesignate existing jobs as apprenticeships, they can then hire people and pay them absolutely pittance wages. I had a case that I could send to you that came the other day of a post that was called Office Administrator that was pitched as an apprentice post, and for the qualifications required were a minimum of 4 A-levels. Now, that's what's happening out there in the labour market. So all of you Catch-22 charities who go around talking like your government spokespeople, are not actually looking at the real situation out there. It's like the Wild West out there for young unemployed people and for all unemployed people. And I just think it's an absolute disgrace that a charity like yours should be so horrendously promoting a government programme that is clearly flawed. And if you haven't read the evaluation of the pilot of the Help to Work programme, you need to go and read it and wise up about all of that.
Just coming back to your point, Adrian, we are actually like a service delivery organisation, and we actually believe in helping young people and other people into work and apprenticeships. We're actually like an apprenticeship provider, and we have never had that experience. and actually we need to give people in who are unemployed. There are 1.194 million 18 to 24-year-olds who are in need. That's 16.4% of the youth population. Unemployment is up 30,000. We need to give people a taste of the world of work, and I think that's critical. This is one initiative of many, and we don't speak for the government. We're an independent organisation, but we actually deliver services on behalf of the public.
But you're talking to Assi like he's the devil incarnate. He is, at the end of the day, devoting his life to try and get young people into work.
You know, he says he doesn't speak for the government. Who is supporting the programmes that they're providing? I'll tell you who it is. It's the government.
OK, so what are you doing to try and get NEETs into work then?
Well, I'm a campaign group. I'm trying to persuade organisations like Catch. That's really an unfair question.
Well, I'm not sure it is
to get NEETs back into work. I'm trying to campaign against the absolute abuses that are being perpetrated upon unemployed people and benefit claimants as a completely legitimate activity.
OK. All right, we'll hear you. Fair point. Andy Benson, thank you very much. And Assi Panditharatna from Catch 22. It's just gone 12.